Welcome back guys to another Scienthistics video. Today we will be covering Mathematics B paper 2 of Wednesday 13 January 2021, paper reference 4MB102. So it's been a little while since I've posted my last video, but I was a bit busy during that time, but I'll try to be more regular after now. So without further ado, let's start off. So our first question asks us, the following formula can be used to change a temperature F degrees Fahrenheit to a temperature C degrees Celsius. And we have the equation as C is equal to 5 multiplied by F minus 32 whole divided by 9. Make F the subject of C is equal to the above equation. Okay. Sean and Kate measure the temperature of a heated iron bar. Or we'll just first solve the first part. Okay, for today I've tried a new experiment. I have already solved this entire paper, and the advantage for this is that the video will be a little shorter and it will be easier for you guys to navigate between questions, because the longer the video, the harder it is to swipe and navigate through questions. And for our first part, well, simply they have asked us to make F the subject, and our given equation was C is equal to 5 multiplied by F minus 32 whole divided by 9. And first off, we opened the brackets by multiplying 5 to F and minus 32. So 5 multiplied by F was 5F, and 5 multiplied by minus 32 is minus 160 whole divided by 9. And now we have moved this 9, divided multiplied both sides by 9 to remove this 9 over here and move it to the C side. So if this gives us 9C is equal to 5F minus 160. And now to make the F variable, to keep it on one side, we will simply move this 160 to the other side of the equal sign, and this gives us 5F equals 9C plus 160. And for the final step, to make F the subject, we simply have to remove this 5 from here. So we divide both equations by 5, and so it simplifies with this 5, and we get F equals this. Or if you want to simplify further, you can simplify 5 individually with both the 9C and 160. So 9C divided by 5 is 5, but 160 divided by 5 is 32, as we know from the equation above. Okay, for part B, read the question first. Sean and Kate measure the temperature of a heated iron bar. Sean measures the temperature of the iron bar as X degrees Fahrenheit. Kate measures the temperature of the iron bar as Y degrees Celsius. Given that X equals 2Y, find the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit of the iron bar. So here we need to note something, that Y means Celsius and X means Fahrenheit. And in this above part, we know that F means Fahrenheit. So over here we are given the value of Fahrenheit as 2Y. So simply using the same equation, in place of F, we just simply substitute the value of Fahrenheit, which is 2Y, as given here. So equal this equation to Y, and obviously, now using the same above procedure, you need to simplify this equation, and we'll just go through it again. 5 multiplied by 2 gives us 10Y, multiplied by minus 32 gives us 160. Moving this 9 over here gives us 9Y. Then 160 will move over there, 9Y will move over there, which simplifies to give us 160 equals to Y. So over here we are done with our very first question. Move it aside. This was an extra sheet. They've always given extra space. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to use all of it. Sometimes students get confused, and start doing multiple calculations, so it is not actually required. Anyways, question 2. The Earth is assumed to move around the Sun in a circular orbit of radius 1.5 times 10 raised to the power 8 kilometers, standard form. Assuming that the Earth takes 365 days to complete one orbit of the Sun, calculate the average speed in meters per second to three significant figures of the Earth as it orbits the Sun. So again, here I have used two procedures, out of which one is wrong, and it's basically a very common misconception students do, and the second is the right method. So first of all, we need to know the formula for average speed, and for average speed the formula is total distance traveled divided by total time taken. So the distance of an orbit is basically, this is orbit, and the distance of it is also known as the perimeter of the circle, or you can say the circumference. So to find the circumference, the formula is 2 pi r, and 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius they have already given us in 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 8 kilometers, and using this you multiply all three of them and you get this circumference in kilometers. Now average speed, distance over time. Now what most students tend to do, they'll just divide kilometers distance divided by 365 days, which is the time, and this is actually a really common and not and actually a very wrong misconception. So over here what you will get is your answer in kilometers per day, though it is not wrong, but it is also not what the question asked you. They asked you to give it in meters per second. So how are you gonna do that? We're gonna convert kilometers to meters and days to seconds. So to convert kilometer into meter, you multiply it by 1000, because in 1 kilometer there are 1000 meters. So we have done that over here. Then to convert days to seconds, you multiply days by multiply days to hours, because there are 24 hours in a day, and multiply it to 60, which because in one day in 1 hour there are 60 minutes, and again multiplied by 60 because in 1 minute there are 60 seconds. So we write both the answers over here, and after you divide them on your calculator, you're gonna get an answer like this. Also again, if you answer it like over here, you're gonna miss out on 1 mark. Why? Because significant figures are really important in your exams. So to three significant figures, the first three numbers starting from a non-zero number, which is 2. So 1, 2, 3. Over here till 8, it's the third significant figure, the first 8. After that you round it off, and the rest you'll replace with zeros. So over here, instead of 2988, we'll just write 299, and the rest of the numbers will replace with 0.00 meters per second, and that's your correct answer. So again, you've been given an extra sheet to work on. Okay, question number 3, interesting. It's about circles. Figure 1 shows circle QRST with center O. SQ is the diameter of the circle, QR is 60 millimeters, RS is 40 millimeters, ST is 50 millimeters. Without using a calculator, find the exact length in millimeters of QT. So first we'll solve the first question. So QT over here, is this till here. QT is this length. So you cannot directly solve this length because you only have one value of ST and RS, which is of no way related to one formula through which you can find QT. So you'll have to do one step before. So over here I've written the rule that I'll use a pen over here to explain. If there's a triangle between a circle inside a circle with all its edges touching the circumference, like these two triangles, all of their edges are touching the circumference, but one of their sides is the diameter or passing through the center, then this triangle is a right angle triangle with this diameter as its hypotenuse. So over here we have three edges touching. One side is passing through the center, it is the diameter, so this will be the hypotenuse, and we have right angles over here. So now this will make things a little bit easier. So to find QT, first we will need to find the length of the hypotenuse. And how we did that? SQ is the hypotenuse. We simply used the Pythagoras theorem, which means one side squared plus one side squared equals to hypotenuse squared. So here x squared is our hypotenuse. 40 squared plus 60 squared, 40 squared plus 60 squared equals to hypotenuse squared, and to remove the square we have simply put these under root signs. So now simply writing the answer like this is wrong. What you need to do is, because they said without using a calculator, you cannot just write it here. This will give them an impression you used your calculator to simplify and write your answer directly. So to do this, you can mentally tell that 4 squared is 16, so 40 squared will be 1600. Add it to 3600 because 6 squared is 36, and you can mentally do the calculation, or you can write it over here like this. You get 5200, so your under root 5200. Now we also know that 52 is divisible by 4, so 5200, because it has two zeros at the end, we can divide it by 4 with two zeros at the end, which makes it 400. So dividing this by 400, we know we get 13, because 52 divided by 4 is 13. But now 400 under root, just like the under root of 4 gives us 2, the under root of 400 gives us 20. So this root is opened, and because there is no perfect square root of 13, we will write it just as it is, and this is our answer. Now for QT, now we will use the Pythagoras theorem again by using the length of the hypotenuse and the length of ST to find QT, and using that again, ST square equals ST square plus TQ squared is equal to SQ squared. So 50 millimeter was ST, so squaring it will give us 2500 plus TQ square we don't know, so we'll just put it as X, and SQ we did know was over here. You can see this value was 5200, which we simplified to get this. So squaring 5200 will simply remove the root sign over here, so we'll just put it over here. Next, to remove the square sign from this X, we will first of all move 2500 over to that side and then under root both sides. So here we can see the square sign is cut with the root. Now again, you cannot write this answer directly like this. So for what you will do first, using your calculator, without using your calculator, you will first simplify this. You can know of 5200 minus 2500 will give you 2700 under root. Now we know 27 can be divided by 9, so 2700 can be divided by 900, and because the under root of 9 is 3, the under root of 900 will be 30. So over here 33 over here will be as it is, because the under root of 3 is not possible in any whole number. So this is your answer in millimeters. Make sure you write the units as well. So we're done with this question 3 as well, another extra paper. Now here's a confusing question, some people tend to miss a little. Question 4. Over the course of a week of 7 days, Alan plays a series of games. He plays exactly one game each day. On Sunday, the probability that Alan wins his game is half, or 1/2. On a day other than Sunday, the probability that Alan wins his game is 1/3. The incomplete probability tree diagram below is to give information about Alan's result on a randomly chosen day in a week of 7 days. Complete the probability tree diagram. Okay, so how to do this? Probability is basically the number, the required number divided by the total. So over here, how many Sundays do we have in a week of 7 days? Obviously we have one. So out of 7 we have one Sunday. So on a Sunday specifically, our probability will be 1/7 because there is only one Sunday in a week. Not Sunday. How many days in a week are not Sundays? Obviously out of 7, 6 are not Sundays. So we will just write it 6 out of 7. So we're done with this part over here. Next, we have already been given over here on a Sunday the probability that Alan wins his game is 1/2. So just simply copy it over here, which makes it a 0.5 probability. And again, out of 2, 1 is used. So Alan does not win. So obviously the probability that he doesn't win is 1/2 as well, because the total probability of everything is equal to 1. So 1 minus 1/2 gives you 1/2. So you can write it over here. Now, again, the probability Alan wins his game other than Sunday is 1/3. So we write it over here. 1 part out of 3, Alan wins. Now, he does not win. So how many parts remain? 2. To make a 1, you subtract 1/3 out of 1 and you get 2/3. Or you can simply just count the remaining parts. If you've used 1 over here, then obviously to make 3, you need 2 more. So you just write 2/3 over here. Find the expected number of games Alan will win in a week of 7 days. Okay. So now Alan will win in a week of 7 days. So you only have to write the games Alan will win, not the ones he will not. So over here, we have two different directions we can go. He plays on a Sunday and wins, and he does not. He plays on a day other than Sunday and he wins. So Sunday and win, not Sunday and win. So over here, this is actually the keyword and. If and is always used when you're like in such situation, you can see he is going to win in all scenarios. So over here, Sunday and win, and means multiplication. So over here, the probability for Sunday playing is 1/7. So he will play on a Sunday and he will win. So 1/7 will be multiplied by 1/2. Not playing on Sunday, 6/7 multiplied by 1/3. 6/7 and he will win. So and means multiply. So over here simply we've just written them down. Sunday and he will win added to not Sunday and he will win, and you simply multiply it by 7 because there are 7 days in a week. Simplify, you just open this brackets, just simplify this equation, and it's actually no big deal at the end, and your answer will be 2.5. And we are done with question number 4. Okay, here's a long this question is a little bit long, but you can this is actually one of the easier questions as well. Okay, the universal set A, B and C are 3 sets, and this is the universal set, the sign over here. Here is information about these sets, and it's given over here. The number of objects in A is 45, in B 48, C 55. In A and B, the common thing is 24. In A and C, the common thing is 25, also known as intersection. And B and C common is 27. B, C and A, between these 3 the common thing is X, and all other than the common thing over here. Complement means not included. So not including A, not including B, not including C in an intersection. So we have this entire place, not counting the outer side, only the inside. Because A intersection B means the common thing between A and B, which is also common with C. So we have this. So complementing them individually, A, B and C complements will leave us with the outer part and not this part. Okay, so show all this information on the Venn diagram, giving the number of elements in each appropriate subset in terms of X or Y. So you can see I've done this with a pencil. This is just to promote this gesture to all of you, to draw on a diagram. Always use a pencil at first because there's always a high chance of making a mistake, and if you do that with a pen, it does not look very neat and it can make your work a little crowded. So with a pencil you can always neaten and correct it at first, and then at the end you can trace it with your pen, but for now we'll be using a pencil. So over here we cannot just put 45 in A, we cannot put 48 in B, we cannot put 55 in C. Why? Because this entire thing is A. So 45 is in all of this, not on this side only. It can, out of 45, some can be common with B, some can be common with C, some can be common with all of them. So the only thing we know that we can write is this: A intersection B intersection C, which is only this part because it's common in all three. So we have written X over here, and because this is the right thing, you can write this with a pen as well, X. Now A intersection B, A intersection C, B intersection C, we cannot also write, for example, A intersection B, we cannot write 24 over here because this entire thing is intersecting of A and B. So anything, any number between 24 can be common with C as well. So what we do over here is, out of this whole 24, we subtract X. So this entire thing was in A intersection B, we saw this entire thing was 24, but we have an X over here. So to find the remaining part, we simply subtract an X, which is common sense actually. And over here as well, A intersection C we're given is 25, but anything in this 25 can be common with X over here. So this entire is 25. So removing this part will cost an X, and we will remove this X to get this region over here. Similarly, we will do the same on this side because this entire thing is 27, and to find only this part, we will remove this X. So here is our intersections. Now this part is a little bit tricky, and to find the simple value of A, all you need to do is, we know that the number of A is 45, so this entire thing was 45. Yeah, so we use an equation over here. So to find A, this is an arrow, don't mistake it for a number. We know 24 minus X, X, 25 minus X, and anything over here, it equals to 45 because the number in A was 45. So the entire thing will equal to, the entire A circle will equal to 45. We don't know what this is, so we'll just write it as X. So 24 minus X added to X added to 25 minus X, and added to this X, it will give us 45. So we simply write this down over here. Now you simplify, you will get X equals to 4, because the X we gave over here we equals to 4, and So you cannot just write x equals to 4 over here. You will always write x minus 4 because you move the 4 over there. Similarly, do the same thing over here, and for b part, add all of these and equal to the total number, which was 48. For b, I think yes, it was 48. Add these three, equal them to 48. Whatever answer you get for x, just move, you get over here, we know we get x equals to 3, so move 3 to the other side, so you can write it over here. C, do the same thing, and we get x equals to minus 3, so moving it to the other side we will get equals to 3. So I hope you understood this part, because this was actually the hardest part, or as for me, I think, yeah. So now we are given that the number in the total universal set is 100. So universal set is not only this outer side, it means the entire block, this entire square, everything outside and inside, it equals to 100. Find an expression for y in terms of x. Give your answer in its simplest form. So we have done this over here. Add everything inside the diagram. So what do we have in the diagram? All of these values: x minus 4, x minus 3, x plus 3, 25 minus x, 24 minus x, 27 minus x, and x. Add everything in the diagram and equal it to 100, because that's the total amount. Doing this, just simplify the whole thing. You will get this 72 plus x plus y equals to 100. And now what you need to do, they asked us to, for y in terms of x, so make y the subject, move x to the other side, we get this, and here's your answer. Okay, so we're not done with this paper here. We will just keep this aside for the reference, and just read out the part C. Using your Venn diagram and your answer to part B, find the greatest value of x. This is actually the part which confuses a lot of students. So what can the value of x be at its most? So over here you will take the values in the diagram which have the highest number added or subtracted to x. So over here we have 24 minus x, we have 25 minus x, and we have 27 minus x. In here, the highest number out which is being subtracted by out of which x is being subtracted is 27. But this is also not the highest number. What the highest number is it is in this equation, 28 minus x. So just write it over here, because if the value of x is greater than 28, if it is greater than 28, then the answer to this part over here will be minus 1, which is impossible. It will be minus 4 over here, which is also impossible, and over here it will give us minus 3, which is also impossible. So you cannot go beyond 87 beyond 27, because it is the maximum value, and that actually is also a wrong approach. You cannot go beyond 24. If you go beyond 24, for example, you go to 25. If you go to 25, you will get a minus 1 over here, which is also impossible, because anything inside this, the whole number, cannot be in a negative form. So over here I have written the maximum value has to be less than equals to 28, which is not the correct answer. So the smallest value in the 20s we are given, which are being subtracted by x, which is the 24. You will equal that equation 24 minus x to 0, and your value of x will be 24, because moving this x over here you get your answer as 24. So x equals to 24 will be the greatest value you can use in this diagram, because again I'm explaining, if you go over 24, for example 25, you will get a negative 1 over here, and hence x cannot be more than 24. So this is the maximum value. Over to part D. What was the question? Find the probability that this element is in the set B intersection C complement union with B complement intersection C. So this part, both of these I will explain. So B intersection with C union first. Union C complement and B intersection with C complement. First of all, we'll solve this. Complement, I've already told you, means not included. So if it was B intersection C, it would have been intersection point over here. We would have shaded this. But because it means complement C, this entire C will not be included in the shading, and we will only use this part over here. Next, it also said union with, which means added to, C intersection B complement. Now B complement means this entire area is not added, is not used. So C intersection B complement, it actually makes the opposite of what we did right now, so it will make this. What we did, we just solved these two brackets separately. First we solved this using C complement, we just didn't add C and we shaded B, and then for B complement we did the opposite. So now the shaded part is your answer. So the probability that it is in both of them, the number in both of them, find the probability that the given number they just found out, an element is selected at random from the 100 elements. Find probability that this element is in this set. Union means both the shaded regions will be added together. So to find the probability, we will first just see what numbers are added to B and C. So we have a diagram over here. In B, there is no need to look at A because it's not included. So in B, we have x minus 3, 24 minus x, 27 minus x, and x. But over here you can see the intersection point is not included. So we will just remove x and 27 minus x. These two and these two will be included. So you know the probability means these values divided by the total amount. Total amount was 100, as we knew in the universal set, where it is here. So using these two values and these two values, just add them all together and divide them by the total, which is 100. Then simply you can see that minus x and positive x, they get cancelled. Negative x, positive x, they get cancelled. Adding 24 minus 3 makes it 21. 25 added to 3 makes it 28. Add them both, divide by 100, it gives us 49. And if you want to take it out in a percentage, you can simply multiply this answer by 100 and you'll get 49%. It's as simple as that. We're done with question number 5 now. moving on to question number 6. Solve the inequality 3x plus 5 greater than 7x minus 9. Represent your solution on the number line on the next page. So these are two parts. First, to solve this, assume you can just imagine that this greater than sign is equal to the equal sign. That will help you solve this equation. So just solve it like that. First, over here, these are two ways you can solve so you don't get confused. So first, what I have done is I moved 7x to this side and moved 5 to this side to separate the x variables to the simple numbers. Then what happened? There were there were a high amount of negative signs, so I multiplied the entire equation with -1. So due to that, we got many of these positive numbers. But when you multiply the entire equation with a negative sign, this sign changes to this sign, and this sign, if it was there, it would have been switched. So the sign switched when you change the signs of the entire equation. If you don't want to do this, you find this a little bit complicated, you can simply do it the easy way. So over here, what I did, moved 9 to this side, moved 3 to that side. You didn't because there are already the numbers are positive, you don't need to multiply the entire equation with a negative sign, so you don't need to change the greater than sign. Anyways, whichever way you use to solve this, you're gonna get this ultimately. So x will be, to make this the subject, we will divide both equations by 4, and hence you get this or this if you convert it to decimals. B1. Solve the inequality of x square plus 5x minus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. So on your first side, you know this is a quadratic equation because you have an x square in it and a simple x. There are two methods you can use to solve this equation. Forgot to add a greater than 0 sign over here. Okay. First method, you use the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is minus b plus minus b under roots b square minus 4ac whole divided by 2a. Plus minus means you have to solve this 2 times, first by using the positive sign, then by using the negative sign. The internal values will remain the same. So b is 5, a is 1 because there isn't anything with x square, and c is minus 6. Substitute these values in this formula like this, solve it. You're gonna get two values, one with the positive sign, one with the negative sign. So you will get x is greater than or equal to 1 or x is greater than or equal to minus 6. With easy formula, if you learn this, it is quite a simple thing. Second thing we can do is the midterm breaking, which personally I find a little easier, but if you haven't mastered it, I'd rather that you use the quadratic formula. How you solve this? Multiply a with c, then coefficient of a with c, which gives us 1 multiplied by minus 6, which gives us a total of minus 6. Ignore the minus sign, which gives us a 6. Now what you have to do is to split this 5x into two parts. How you're gonna do that? Find two numbers which you can multiply to get 6, which was the total which you multiplied. So x multiplied by 6, they give you minus 6, or you don't need to use the sign in this part, so it gives us 6. Two numbers which you multiply, you get 6, but when you add or subtract, you get 5x positive. What are these two numbers? In my random guess, they are 2 and 3. If you multiply 2 and 3, you get 6. And if you add 2 and 3, you get a 5. See, it's easy. Or you can simply use 6 and 1 as well. So you can multiply 6 by 1, you get a 6, and if you multiply you add a 6 and use a -1, you get a 5x positive. So over here we have used that. X squared plus 6x minus x. Why minus x? Because we need to get a positive 5x. So we used a positive 6x minus x minus 6. So these are two groups. You need to take one thing common in these two. Over here we can take common x to get this, and here you can take common -1 to get this. Now you can see these two brackets are the same. You will then separate them over here like this as 1, and this x -1 you can write separately over here, and your equal greater than equal to sign is equal to 0. And if you divide both equations by x plus 6, you're eventually gonna get this. If you divide both sides with x -1, you're gonna get remaining with this, and you're gonna get this. Now you cannot write, this is not your answer. You have to write it in inequality form like this: x is greater than equal to 1 and it is less than equal to -6. What just happened? So I'll explain this using a graph. You know your values of x, it is -6 and it is 1. Draw Cartesian plane, plot your graph. Because your x square value is positive over here, it is not a negative, your graph is going to be a happy face. Just draw your curve and you can see these two areas are your answers, the outer sides. So x is greater than equal to 1 and it is less than equal to -6. That's how you find your graph. That's your answer. And now for your part B. Now for your question 6 part 2, part A, part 2, you had to represent this solution on a number line. The answer we got was this, was less than 3.5. So over here it is not given that it was less than equals to. It is said that it is less than 3.5. Only less than. It cannot be equal to 3.5. So the way we do this is by making a hollow circle, and because it was less than, you go backwards with an arrow like this. Then represent your solution on number line on the next page. We did the same for part B, but in part B you had this inequality. So you can see that x is greater than equals to -1 and it is less than equals to -6. When you get an equals with a greater or less than sign, you don't get a hollow circle. You fill up the circle, so it makes a big black dot like this. And it was greater than equals to 1, you go like this. It was less than equals to -6, you go that way, backwards. You are given a reserve number line over here. You don't need to use this, because unless you mess up in any of these two. Okay, there we have another part as well. Write down the set of values for which both this and this. We have solved both of them. This over here, which we solved in part 1, and this which we solved in part 2, we have both of their answers. So for the first part we got x was less than 3.5, and for the quadratic part we got these two. So now we need to write them as a single inequality, and you have to use the largest value and the smallest value. Over here the largest value in these three answers is I think as the smallest value is -6, and you have to use is greater than equals to 1. We cannot use less than 3.5 because it does not satisfy x is greater than equal to 1. Because if you get 7 or 8, it still satisfies this equation because it is greater than or equal to 1. It can be anything above 1. Over here it restricts it to less than 3.5. So we will go with these equations, so that the previous answer which we got is the answer for this equation as well, because it satisfies is less than 3.5. so greater than equal to 1, you get less than 3.5 values in this as well, and you get a larger range of values as well. So here we are done with 6 questions. Coming soon we will be doing the other 6 questions as well, which will make the complete paper 2. After that we will be doing another subject of chemistry. So see you next time. Subscribe and like if you like if what I'm explaining, and if you want to keep track of all these latest past papers, you subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends or whoever needs them. So bye bye till next time.